WPEngine. I will try to keep this review very short, but I want to give you all the information. Okay, so you will use WPEngine when you're a little bit more advanced. Okay, so you don't need that when you're just starting. It's not mandatory. You could actually go for it when you're a beginner and when you're starting, so that you don't have to change later. But it's really not mandatory. Okay, so this is when you already have a website. It's been running. For example, on Bluehost. And if you haven't seen the review of Bluehost, this is one of the companies that I use as well, and I highly recommend you check Bluehost out because it's pretty good if you're just starting or if you have like a really small blog. And then afterwards, once you have some traction and you want to get to the next level, this is what I will recommend. Okay, so I will recommend it if the site is built on WordPress, okay? Because WPEngine is solely dedicated to WordPress. They decided to specialize on WordPress and nothing else. As you can see here, they are all about WordPress, but WordPress is millions and millions of sites because they account for about 27 or 28% of all the websites out there, okay? So these guys, they're dealing with a lot of websites, okay? So about this company, they've been around for since 2010. They're based in Austin, Texas, and one of the founders of WPEngine helped found the website, a big website called BBC, right? So if you see the BBC website, then one of the founders helped found this website. Okay, so you will use this if you want to give an amazing experience to your users, which I'm pretty sure you do, and if you really want to take it to the next level. So what you want is to get some speed and some user friendliness on your website. Okay, so what's in for you for using this kind of service? So this is it's a dedicated service. Okay, I will explain the difference between a dedicated service and a shared service, but this one is dedicated. Okay, and the main upside for going dedicated is that your website will be way faster and it will perform way better than 99% of maybe like 85% of the websites out there. All right, just to give you a comparison between dedicated and shared. So let's say you're in a plane, right? So you're in a plane, you're in a coach, right? Where you have to share the cabin or the seats with 4 other people, right? So you've all been in coach, and when you get off the plane, you pass the business lounge, the business class, and then sometimes you actually see the first class. And in the first class, what happens is that every single person there has their own cabin, and they have an amazing experience. But that's the same analogy is for the hosting providers. Okay, so if you're using Bluehost, that I recommend you use when you start, then you're in the coach class where you're going to share the servers with other people. And once you want to move to something else, when you start building your brand and things are going for you, then you can upgrade to a dedicated server, which is WPEngine if you're running WordPress. And again, the difference in price is not crazy. You're not going to pay like first class type of prices, right? It's going to be like $30 a month, right? Which is it's not too much money, right? So let's explore the difference between shared and dedicated. On a shared hosting, you're basically sharing the resources with other websites. And when I say other websites, it could be between 5 to 8,000 other websites. Okay, whereas in this case, you'll have your own dedicated server, so you're the only one using that specific server, right? So just imagine the difference in performance if you're sharing the space with 8,000 people in compared to when you're by yourself, right? So, but it's not a fair comparison, right? Because these are two different business models where shared hosting focuses on giving you the best price possible. Okay, so they will basically use the server since they work on numbers. since there are a lot of people on that server, you have the opportunity then to pay a lower price, right? And the dedicated server will be solely focused on giving you the best quality and the best performance possible, which basically translates into being more expensive. We're going to see the prices afterwards. It's not crazy money, right? And if you're serious about your business, this is something you can invest. You should invest to get to the next level. And again, you can start with like $30 a month, right? If you don't have $30 for your business, the business that you want to change your life, then maybe you have other problems. Me, I don't have a problem investing $30 for something like this. Okay, so given that you're on your own server, dedicated server, you're not impacted by other users, right? You're not sharing that with other people, and your website will load super fast, right? So I've done a comparison between a bunch of sites, right? Before I show you the comparison, because it's very hard to compare everything, because there are so many variables and different circumstances and stuff. So this comparison might not be very might not be super accurate. It's just to give you some sort of perspective. Okay, don't take it as set in stone or whatever. If you want to do a comparison, you need to do it in the same environments and all that stuff, right? But just say that the industry average for page load is usually 9 to 10 seconds, okay? And nobody likes to wait 10 seconds before you see a page that loads, right? Just imagine you're on the phone, you try to get to a website, after 3 seconds, then you're gone. You're like, dude, and I'm going somewhere else, and you will basically bounce from that website, okay? And the testing, the average that I've seen is between 2.5 and 3 seconds to load the page. Okay, so I just ran this test here. This is a website that's been running on WPEngine, and it's a small website as well. So the size of it is not like a super big website or anything, but it loads pretty fast. It will load between 2.5 and sometimes here it was 3.4, but it will generally load between 2.5 and maybe 2.9 seconds or something. Okay. And just to give you an example with a website that everybody knows, this is CNN, for example, that will load in close to 24 seconds. Okay. So this is full load. Okay. It doesn't mean that you don't see anything on the page. It's when the whole page is loaded. But you can see the difference in loading time. But again, this is a very small website. CNN is a big website. There are a lot of people on it. So it's just to give you an element of comparison, and then you're going to understand why I'm talking about website speed, right? So the way they're able to give you website speed is using something called CDN. Okay, and let's see if there's something that says. Here is the pricing. I'm going to get to the pricing afterwards, but there is something that says CDN here, right? So CDN, just to, I'm not going to make it too complicated. It's basically, let's say you have a website, you're located in the US, okay? And basically if someone is in India or in Indonesia, where I am right now, and they're trying to access your website, they will have to connect to the server where your website is, and that server is in the US. So basically, the data has to go through Asia, Europe, and blah, blah, blah before they get to the US, and it's going to basically increase the loading time. With CDN, what it's done is that your website is replicated on 18 or 25 different locations. So in this case, last time I checked, it was 18 servers around the planet. So that me, for example, if I want to load your website, I might connect to a server that's right here in Indonesia because it's been replicated here, and then the website will load super fast. Okay, and why is that important for you? If you listen to my podcast, I talked about bounce rates, right? But I'm going to tell you about it today. So a lot of the sites, so most sites have a bounce rate of more than 80%. Sometimes it's 90%. So basically, out of 10 people who land on your website, 8 people will leave without having seen anything on your website. The page hasn't loaded it or anything. They haven't been exposed to your offer. Okay. So if you're paying for traffic, for example, you bought 1,000 clicks for $1,000, so that's $1 per click. Well, just understand that you're actually bought 200 clicks because 800 of these people just bounced, right? And that this is killing your business because you're spending money for people who won't buy anything because they haven't seen your offer, right? So the quicker your page loads, the more people will be exposed to your offer. So let's say, for example, instead of having 200 people who see your offer, you might have 500 people. And you haven't spent more money on traffic or anything. It's just that your site is faster, right? And let's say you have a conversion rate of, I don't know, I'll just go with numbers, like easy numbers for me to calculate, right? It's just an example. You have a 10% conversion rate, right? So if you have 200 people, you're going to make 20 sales, right? But let's say, for example, now you have 500 people that land on your website and that actually see your offer because your bounce rate is lower. Then this time you have 50 sales, all right? And the difference between 20 sales and 50 sales is huge. Let's say your product costs 100, you have 30 more sales. That's $3,000 more without having done anything crazy. All right. So this is how important this is. Having a website that loads super fast is not just for just convenience or anything. It's actually killing your business. And afterwards, there's another element. So if you're doing retargeting, so basically everybody who landed on your website, you're trying to retarget these people. Right now, you might be retargeting people who arrive on the website and before anything was displayed, bounced. Okay, so you're trying to retarget them with items that they still haven't seen, right? So they're not very likely to convert. Whereas if you only focus on people who actually have seen your offer, they're already familiar with it, then your conversion rates are going to be better. So the lower your bounce rate, the better, right? And this will help you dramatically increase the number of people exposed to your offers thanks to so they're optimized for speed, right? So they want the website to load very quickly. And with the CDN that allows you to have servers all over the internet. So in India, in Australia, in the US, in France, in Germany, if a German goes to your website, bam, it loads in a split second, then you'll make far more money without having to do massive changes, okay? Moving to such an infrastructure makes a big difference. Okay, so I want to give you the pros of WPEngine. Why am I telling this? I tested them. I've used them extensively for some of my businesses, and I started using them in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. I still have websites running on there. When I'm starting like a small informational blog or something. Sometimes it's not needed to go like all out and stuff, but I have a lot of websites running on this and I can see the difference. It's absolutely mind blowing. All right. So the advantages. First thing I'll say is it's easy to transfer your site. Okay. So let's say you're on the hosting provider. Let's say you're on Bluehost right now. And again, if you haven't seen the review of Bluehost, you should check it out. If you're just starting out, okay? You're starting out, you want to create a very simple blog or something, you could go with Bluehost, okay? But let's say you're on Bluehost right now and you want to move your site over to WPEngine because it's a WordPress site, then they will take care of that for you. All right, it's easy. You don't have to be technical or anything because it requires changing stuff in the DNS that who knows anything about DNS. They will do that for you, okay? Another major advantage is performance. Again, as I was saying, it's super fast. It's replicated all over the internet for maximum speed, and it's awesome. Security. In terms of security, it's just mind-blowing. Like, I have never been hacked or anything with any website that I've hosted there. I've been hacked on other providers, right? So I haven't been hacked on Bluehost, to be honest. But because I was hacked before, and I added a lot of like security measures and stuff. But Bluehost is pretty safe. But here in this case, what they did is you can't use a password that's either medium or high complexity. Okay, so that you don't put like Bob123, and that's easier to hack. Or like the system won't let you use this. Okay, you can use obviously the double validation, double authentication and stuff, but you won't be able to use a weak password in there. Then one thing that's very important is that every WordPress update, every WordPress security update is automatically installed on your environment within 24 hours of the release. So you don't have to go and do anything technical or basically inform yourself of when the new security update is out. It's going to be done automatically. So you always have the most secure version of WordPress on your server, right? So they're blocking long comments that could exploit vulnerabilities in the code, right? So some spammers and spammers and like scammers and stuff. Sometimes it's easy to hack a system. So not only this kind of system, but pretty much every system. If you flood that system with data, all right. So if you throw too much data at a system, it doesn't know how to process it and just goes wild. And then at that point, they have a backdoor to come and exploit your server. Okay, so they will automatically block this so that it doesn't happen. They have an anti-intrusion system that will block millions of attacks, and they know IP ranges that are known to be used by spammers and vulnerable to spamming, right? So if any connection comes from that IP space, it will be blocked without you having to do anything. So there is a whole security team behind your server that you don't have to take care of that. Okay. In addition, they will block the disallowed plugins. WordPress plugins, sometimes they're disallowed on the network because they're known to be insecure, or they have vulnerabilities that could be exploited by spammers or like scammers. All right. So you won't be able to install that on the platform because they keep track of all these apps for your security, right? And if by any chance, and if in the event you actually get hacked, you don't have to take care of it. They will take care of it for you for free. All right. Me, I was hacked once by someone. Some idiot put his picture on the homepage of my website. I don't know how he got access to my website. It took me forever, and I had to hire someone to do it because I don't know my way around like security and stuff. And cost me a lot of money, a lot of time because my website was down. Whereas in this case, you don't have to worry about anything. They will do it for you. They will give you a free SSL certificate, which is the HTTPS thing that you see here. So which protects all the data in your on your server, and basically all the payment data as well. So people are not hesitant to pay on your website. Then you can transfer the site to a client easily. So this is, for example, if you have an agency and you're building sites for clients, so you can build those sites for free. So you don't have to go and find another platform to build the site. And then afterwards, you can transfer that site over to your client. And only at that point, the client starts taking care of the cost. You don't have to do it yourself. It's going to be free, all right? The plans are very simple. I've seen like companies where there are 300 different plans and stuff. It's really complicated. Whereas in this case, it's very simple. We'll come to the price afterwards. You can see them here, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the prices afterwards. Support is absolutely awesome. Reason that the support is available all the time, so they answer super fast. And the big difference, the major difference is this. These people are specialized in WordPress. That's what they do, okay? So if you're with a hosting provider and you tell them, oh, you know what, I have a problem. I think my WordPress is faulty and I have a conflict between these plugins and stuff. Your hosting provider might tell you, well, you know what, we only support the hosting. We don't support your WordPress installation. You're on your own. right? And you have to find someone who does this. Whereas in this case, these guys are specialized in WordPress, so they know their way around WordPress. They're not going to tell you, oh, it's not supported. They're going to fix it for you, and they're going to help you. Okay, so it's absolutely amazing. If you're running WordPress, this is what you want. Okay, because you have everything at your disposal. Well, support, expertise, security. That's all in there, and you can have it for as little as $35 a month. Right. Then, in addition, they have a list of the very best WordPress plugins that you can set up. Because if you're running WordPress, if you run WordPress, first thing is, who has the time to go and test every single plugin? You don't have the time to do it. They do it for you. They will test all the plugins and make sure that they work well. And if you have experience with WordPress, you know that you install a plugin and then you install some other random plugin that, well, supposed to be super magic and stuff, but they don't like one another. And then everything breaks because they're not compatible. And, figuring out which plugin is causing the problem is like a maze, right? And in this case, they will give you a list. So the list that they've compiled are the best plugins that they've tested, but also the plugins that are not going to conflict and interfere with one another, which is absolutely amazing. You can't even imagine how much time, hassle, and stress this saves you, and money as well, because you will have to invest in the plugin to realize that it doesn't work. And obviously there are cons, right, to everything. So it's not just pros. The cons are that you have a limit of people that can visit your store or your site, right? And if you go over the limit, then there are additional fees for it. Okay, so this is a con. But then afterwards, it's just your due diligence. You just have to plan accordingly and make sure that you have enough buffer not to go over the margin, right? And when you see that you're starting to grow, then it might be time to move to the next package so that you're not facing any additional charge. Okay. And the other thing is, it is a bit more expensive than other competitors. So you could find competitors out there that have maybe like $5 less a month. But given everything they give you, the expertise for WordPress. So if you have a WordPress problem, they can take care of that for you. They will take care of like hacking if you get hacked. But given the level of security and everything they put in place, you don't get hacked. I never got hacked with them. And with everything they give you, it's it's a steal. Like for this price, like $35 a month, it's a steal given everything you have. All right. And also, you do have a 60-day money-back guarantee that I've seen here somewhere. Where is this? Yep, risk-free. So you have a 60-day risk-free, and if you prepay yearly, you'll get 2 months off. So basically, you'll get $70 off of the whole price. Okay. So I really recommend you, when you're scaling up, to move to this infrastructure if you're running WordPress. Because again, they will give you the best environment that's optimized for WordPress for maximum speed, that will reduce your bounce rate and basically expose way more people to your offers than what you have currently, right? They'll give you the best support for WordPress. They're going to give you all the apps, the best apps, the plugins that you can install that are going to work well for you. And if there is any problem, they can take care of that for you. In the event of a problem, they're here to help you, because they're never going to tell you, dude, it's WordPress, we only do hosting, you're on your own. Okay, so I really recommend using WPEngine. You could use it from the start, right? If you have one website and you want to move straight away to this, I would recommend that you use that as well from the start, so that you don't have to change and stuff afterwards, right? But it's not mandatory. You can start with a shared environment, and then afterwards you work with them, and they will transfer your domain and your site over to their infrastructure. Okay, so hopefully this was a this brought you some value. And there is a link here for a WPEngine. This is my personal link. So please click on the link if you're interested, and you can sign up to one of their packages. And again, as usual, I don't want you to spend more than necessary. If you have a website that has 10K visits per month, just go with this package here. Okay, take the package that makes sense for you. I'm not going to ask you to go and buy the $300 a month, even when you only need 35, right? So just go with something that makes sense for you, and it's just going to work out. Okay, thank you very much. You have a great day.